She said that you're a great guy. So why do you feel like trash now that she's left?
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
What's the haps, guys? It is Wednesday. Exciting news. I took my son to the DMV yesterday to get his car registered. He's an official owner of a chair. Well, not exactly a Chariot, kind of a rusty 1999 Isuzu shitbox. And there goes the monetization. Guys, send super chats. Okay. And Nurse Chick's son, guys, Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Happy hump day. Nurse Chick's son also got his driver's license yesterday as well. So shout out to him. Guys, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, some of you guys already know this, but breakups hit hardest when you gave everything. And it still wasn't enough. You were there for her. You listened. You made sacrifices. You did everything right. But now she's gone and you're left asking, what the hell did I do wrong? You feel confused, angry, maybe even a little bit betrayed. And she moved on like it was nothing. And you're still stuck wondering what else you could have done. The truth is, what felt like love was really one big covert contract. And until you break free from that nice guy programming, you'll keep reliving the same breakup with different women. Today's episode is going to show you why that relationship didn't work, not because you were too nice, but because you weren't being real. You weren't being authentic. We're breaking down nice guy syndrome, covert contracts, and how becoming safe actually kills attraction. Now, stay to the end because I'm going to show you how to rebuild your confidence after a breakup and reclaim your self-respect so this never happens to you again. Guys, before we get too far into it, though, do be sure to, where are we at? Like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail. And please sound off in the chat today. And if you guys are in the wolf pack, you know what to do. You guys got to drop that too sweet in the chat, okay? Drop that too sweet in the chat, baby. And if you guys have questions or comments and you really need to get it into the show, send it as a super chat, okay? One, it helps support the show. And two, I can bring it up on the screen. You can be a part of the show. And three, it actually highlights it on the back end here. And it's easier for me to see. All right. Yes, if you haven't done that. Okay. Let's talk about how you weren't dumped because you were too nice. You were dumped because you abandoned yourself. All right. And what we're really talking about here is the chapter in my new book, Forget That Bish, which drops here on June 6th. It's just man, it's a week away. It's a week from Friday. The book drops, okay? Well, we're talking about getting over nice guy syndrome. And you guys got to understand the way I wrote this book and my thought process behind this book, all except for the getting the X back part. Except for the getting the X back part, a lot of this book was my journey after my breakup with Red Pill Chick, right? Because I talk about it a lot. But I didn't get red pilled after my divorce. I wasn't red pilled. I just thought, she just wasn't the right woman. I just picked a bad woman. If I just get a better woman, everything will be fixed. And that's what a lot of guys think. But what you realize is if you don't work on what's up here and what's going on up here and your bad relationship habits, you're going to keep repeating the same process over and over again. So the way I wrote this book, because a lot of guys are trying to get their ex back. And so I addressed that very like that in the beginning, right? Okay, well, this is how you get her back. Okay, now that you got her back and that didn't work out, now what do? Now we fix ourselves. Okay. And so the whole rest of the book is rebuilding yourself and getting over those negative paradigms. And you have to get over nice guy syndrome if you don't want to keep repeating the same processes. This is like the number one thing that is affecting men that's causing them to have relationships fail. The number one thing. Forget attachment styles, forget love languages. All that stuff is nonsense. Okay. It's nice guy syndrome that you have to fix. So that's what we're talking about today. All right. And if you guys aren't quite ready, aren't quite ready, or you can't wait to get this book, then at least get the free ebook. Fine. Here's how you get her back. Okay. It's the top link there in the description. So what nice guy syndrome really is. Okay. In nice guy syndrome, a lot of people confuse this about, being like about kindness. It's not about kindness. Okay. It's really not, because a lot of guys are like, what's wrong with being nice? You know, inherently being a kind person there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The problem is that nice guys that suffer from nice guy syndrome, they're anything but nice. It's all fake. They're giving to get. Okay. It's really hidden manipulation. All right. Well, oh, am I blowing your mind right now? Is this the first time you're hearing about this? There's the guys that suffer from this. They don't even know that they're doing it, right? It's kind of like a fish in water, not knowing that they're in water, right? They don't know. They can't describe water. But these guys, they think that if they're just nice enough and they don't rock the boat, they'll get lots of love and have a problem-free life, right? And when that doesn't happen, resentment builds, and these guys act out a lot of times with passive-aggressive behavior or temper tantrums. And the thing is that when you're with women, you're doing all this nice stuff in order to get something from her. Usually it's, sex and affection. And when she's not giving you what you think you're owed because of all this awesome, nice stuff that you're giving to her, right? I gave her everything. That resentment builds and you start acting out. You start acting out in various ways, and she's completely confused. She's like, I don't know why he's acting out like this. Because we're operating from a thing called a covert contract. What's a covert contract? I'm glad you asked, Internet Man. It's basically where you're expecting something. You're expecting love, sex, or loyalty in exchange for your labor, right? You're doing you're taking the trash out, you're washing the dishes, you're doing chore play. How many of you guys believe the internet bullshit where the women are like, oh, when he's mopping the floor, it's just so sexy, right? It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Women are happy to use that stuff, this nice kindness, to take advantage of it. Because why? Because women are opportunistic. They're opportunistic by nature. Okay, they're wired to take advantage of all the kindness that you're giving them, and then but they don't necessarily feel like they owe you shit, and they don't inherently owe you anything. So when you're doing all this nice stuff expecting something, it builds resentment. How many of you guys out there have gone out on dates and spent lots of money on a date, and then the girl like blew you off, ghosted you, or at the very least didn't put out, and you felt slighted? Like, hey, I paid for all that lobster dinner. I fucking flew her out here and she didn't even put out for me? Bitch. There was a couple of years ago, there was a video I found on TikTok. A lot of the guys that follow me, like OG guys that follow me, it's because they put out a video on TikTok, like being really upset by something like this, like a covert contract. There was a guy, he went viral because he was like drinking. He was drinking like whiskey, and he's like, I spent $300 on this girl just to show her a good time. And basically she broke his heart. Like ghosted him or whatever. And it's like guys are doing that stuff. You know, you're spending a lot of money trying to impress a girl, and then when she's not impressed and she blows you off, you're pissed off at her for it, right? That's why I say don't do that shit. Women need to earn that kind of stuff. Okay. You have to have that mentality, right? That's a covert contract where you're doing something with an expectation and she's not aware of the expectation. I often joke with my girl nurse chick, you know, because she tunes into this stuff, and she might ask me something, you know, hey, do you mind doing X, Y, and Z? And she'll ask me, and then I tell her, I say yes, but I expect sex. I'm like, because this is and then as I'm doing it, I'm like, this is a covert contract. I expect sex, right? But I'm clearly articulating that, so it's not really a covert contract, right? But we're just joking about it. But these subconscious patterns, they develop in childhood. They develop in childhood. If you actually read Dr. Robert Glover's book, and I give him full credit for this in the book, and there's a reason why I list different books within my books. It's because I want to give credit where credit's due, for one, and two, I mention them a lot because I want you to go out and read those books. Okay, I don't want you to just read my books. I'm not selfish like that, right? I didn't just come up with this shit, right? I learned this from mentors and some great minds in the space, and I give them constant shout outs through the book because I want you to read this stuff and then go and study this other stuff and really internalize it. But one of the things that Dr. Glover talks about is how we're going on several generations of nice guys now. And it started back in right after World War II, and when people's boys stopped, growing up on farms around men like their dads and their uncles, and they had all this masculine influence, and their dads started working in the factories 17-hour days, and boys were left being raised by women. And bless women's heart, right? Like, women are doing their best. They're trying their best. But a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. They just don't know how to do it. And the thing is about women is that they're very emotional creatures, right? So what's great about having a man around, for both men and women, or for both boys and girls, is having a dad in the house, is that dads are very sort of logical, right? So we have rules. We have very strict rules. As long as you don't violate the rules, you're going to be okay. And that's an easy way, especially for little boys, to understand where the boundaries are. Thing is about women, because they're emotional, a lot of times they don't feel like enforcing the boundaries one day, but they feel like it another day. So little boys get confused, and they're like, I don't know what the real rules are, because some days my mom doesn't care if I do it, and other days she's pissed that I do it. All I know is that I got to walk around on eggshells trying to make mom happy all the time. And so what boys learn is to be people pleasers, right? If I just make people happy and I'm nice enough, then I'm not going to get blowback and yelled at. Well, that carries on into the relationships, right? That creates a subconscious paradigm of how you interact with people. That's why people, they're afraid of conflict. I put out a video the other day talking about guys who say, oh, I don't know if coaching's right for me. I need to talk to my wife first, or I got to get permission from my wife before I can do coaching. And I'm like, one, your wife has no respect for you if you're in a dead bedroom situation right now. So do you think that you're going to get that permission? You're going to get that go ahead there, pal, that sign off on fixing this? No, if this is your problem and she has no respect for you, you need to make that decision for yourself. Okay. But man, there were so many guys in the comments that literally said the same thing. They're like, oh, well, if I'm telling you I have to go talk to my wife, it's really just an excuse, and it means that I want to avoid conflict, right? And I'm like, that's why you're in a dead bedroom situation right now, because you're avoiding conflict by trying to be nice and not hurt feelings. You're walking on eggshells around everybody. That's nice guy syndrome. The thing is that when you're doing everything right, right? That doing everything right, it still leads to rejection is because it doesn't build respect. And if you guys don't understand this, relationships, even romantic relationships, are a power dynamic. It's a power dynamic. One person's operating in the other person's frame. And the way that romantic relationships between men and women work in just an effortless way is when you're operating in your masculine and you are setting the tone and leading the relationship. That's why I say there's no such thing as, she's not your partner, right? Get that out of your head right now. She is not your partner. You're the captain. She's your executive officer. She wants it to be that way. Even if she says she doesn't, at a subconscious level, she wants it to be that way because that's nature. She wants to follow your lead. And if she can't follow your lead and you're constantly trying to make her happy all the time and you're doing all this nice stuff so that she's not mad at you, and then you're basically like making her letting her make all the decisions because you don't want to upset her. Now she's up here and she fucking resents you for it. And she has no respect for you. And that's why it leads to rejection. Because the power dynamic's off. She didn't leave you because you were a bad guy, okay? She left you because you weren't you. You weren't being authentic. All right? A lot of the things that nice guys do is a lot of the things nice guys do. Hold on, what did I write down here? Oh, okay. I see how I wrote that. A lot of the things that nice guys do, they don't actually want to do them, right? But they're too afraid to set boundaries and say no, right? These guys will always be available to help their wife's sister move, right? Oh, hey, Bonnie needs help moving and you got the truck. Do you think you can help her this Saturday? And you're like, I was going to hang out with the boys this Saturday. I was going to watch the game this Saturday. Well, I don't want to upset the wife, and I certainly don't want to upset Bonnie. So, yeah, hon, I'll go do that. Right? The thing is, they're upset that they think that they have to do it, okay? You don't. You don't fucking have to help Bonnie move. It is absolutely okay and acceptable to say, no, hon, I got plans. No, Bonnie's going to have to find herself a man to help her move. Bonnie's going to have to hire fucking movers. Right? I'll give an example of this in my relationship, and it's not bad, and I don't fault Nurse Chick for asking this sort of thing. But my dog died this year, right? My dog died back in January. And as my dog was getting older and stuff like that, like one of the things I love the shit out of that dog too. But one of the things that was kind of a burden when you have an animal like a dog, right? Dogs are very much like children. They need someone around to watch them, especially if you don't have like a dog run where they can't get out. But I think people that just leave their dogs in dog runs all the time, I think that I kind of look at that like it's animal cruelty. Personally, that's just me. Whatever, if you do that, okay. But dogs need care, right? Cats don't. Cats, you can leave a cat for like 3 days and they're fine. In fact, Nurse Chick and I will go for a week and my cats are fine. My boy cat, O'Malley, what he'll do is he's funny because if I'm not around for a couple of days, he just says, "Oh, fuck this, I'm out," and he'll just be gone. And so when I get back after a long trip, it's usually about 3 days before I see him. And then he comes walking back in and like almost like he realizes that I'm back and stuff, But my girl cat, she sticks around the house. She doesn't like to wander too far. But my boy cat, he's like, fuck this. I guess he's dead, And but as long as they have food and water, like the cats are fine, right? But dogs aren't. Dogs need people to care for them. And so whenever I wanted to go out of town or go on a trip, or if I had to for business, I had to leave my dog with my parents, and I didn't want to be a burden on my parents by having to leave my dog. So one of the things that when Nurse Chick got her dog Spoon, and I love the shit out of Spoon, but when Nurse Chick got her dog Spoon, she asked me if she could get this dog, which I love. I love that she respects me enough that she's going to ask my opinion, but she doesn't live with me full time. She comes here every other week and she stays with me for a week. And so at least out of respect, she asked my opinion on it. And I told her, I said, yeah, I mean, and that's up to you. It would be your dog. I go, but if we go on trips and stuff like that, that's going to have to be your responsibility. You're going to have to find a sitter for Spoon. And I think at one point last year, or I can't remember, Nurse Chick and I go on trips all the time. She asked me, hey, do you think your parents could watch Spoon? And I said, hon, no. I said, hon, no, I'm not going to ask my parents to watch your dog. You're going to have to find someone to watch your dog, but it's okay to say that. And Nurse Chick, I think, respects that I am very strict with that boundary. I'm not going to make her dog my parents' burden. I don't even like making my dog my parents' burden. You understand? It's okay to say no. Right? And actually women will respect you more if you do that. Now they might try to manipulate you and play sad and do the crying thing and shame you and all. Just hold your ground. Okay. Because if you give in, they lose respect for you. And then you've done everything right and she still leaves, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't let them walk all over you. It's okay. I'm giving you permission right now. It's okay. She didn't leave you because of that last fight, bro. Right? It was about the man you became long before that. And the worst part, you didn't even know you were sabotaging your own relationship. Let's talk about what that looked like so you don't repeat it. But before we do that, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm trying to build up my X account. I'm going fucking hard on X, okay? So if you're not following me on X, get on there. The links are in the description, okay? I'm at Come On Man Pod on X. And guys, if you haven't done so already, grab the ebook. Fine. Here's how you get her back, especially if you've gone through a breakup and you need to move on and you can't stop thinking about getting her back. I'll show you how to do it, but I'm also going to tell you why that's a fucking terrible idea. Okay. Grab that. It's the first link in the description. And then boys, if you're in the wolf pack, drop them. Drop that Too Sweet, baby. For the love of God, somebody too sweet me.
Bear Club? Not anymore.
Home, midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
For the love of God, somebody too sweet me. This Saturday, Brother Dan from the Wolf Pack, he was a former prison guard, and after studying all this stuff and reading my book and all that kind of stuff like that, he realized, holy shit, I have hostage negotiation training that can be applied to relationships. And he was talking about it in the chat. He's like, man, after reading all this stuff and about Luca, he's like, man, there's this other framework that I learned as a prison guard that can be applied when having conversations with your wife. And I was like, do you want to do the next private pod class about that? And he's like, fuck yeah. So this Saturday, Brother Dan is going to break it down. And if you guys don't join now, you're going to miss it. You can join right now with a 7-day free trial. Go to wolf.comeonmanpod.com. And brother Ray from the Wolf Pack, he dropped that too sweet, baby. $10 super chat. Let's give him some titties.
Thank you for the super chats. Boobies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, viewers, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. All right. You were trained to avoid conflict and please women, and it destroyed the attraction. Man, you see it on social media too. If I say anything negative about women, like all the white knights come in there to defend my lady's honor and stuff like that, that's nice guy syndrome, right? You were trained to avoid conflict and please women. Can't upset the baby makers. But here's the thing. Avoiding conflict, it's not strength, it's fear. You're afraid of her emotions. You're afraid of her emotional storms. And it probably builds up a lot of anxiety in your head. Right? I'm a recovering nice guy. I still feel that anxiety when like my mom, like if I'm talking with my mom's like an expert manipulator. If you ever read the book When I Say No, I Feel Guilty, which is all about assertive communication, like all the examples of manipulative communication tactics, if you listen to that book or read it, I guarantee your mom probably does 90% of that shit. Nurse Chick's read that book and she's like, it's not her mom that does that stuff, it's her grandmother. So her grandmother's around the same age as my mom. Because Nurse Chick, she's young. You know what I'm talking about. Give me that too sweet, baby. Anyway, but her grandma's the same way, right? Very, a lot of guilt, a lot of, if you don't do this, they make you feel bad for it, and all this stuff. And so it almost builds this anxiety, almost like you feel like you have to do this kind of shit, right? But that's not strength. That's fear, man. You're afraid of making people upset. Right? You can't bear the thought of someone not liking you. Oh, have you ever seen the movie The Big Hit? The Big Hit with Mark Wahlberg. It's one of his first movies. It's a funny movie, but he's spinning plates. He's got a fiance and he's got this side chick, and they both walk all over him because he can't stand the thought of these women not liking him. That's nice guy syndrome. It is like the epitome of nice guy syndrome, right? And over accommodation, it makes you predictable and spineless. And women, man, they just can't respect a guy like that. And they'll be happy to use you. They'll be happy to take advantage of all the stuff that you're doing for them, but they have no respect for you, and they certainly don't want to fuck you. And that's why, like, they'll end up cheating on you with a guy who does none of the nice stuff, and you're like, but why? What? Like a lot of nice guys, especially, they get up. They're like, why is he with that jerk? Right? That guy's an asshole. I don't understand. Like, I would treat him so much better. It's because that guy doesn't let her walk all over him, and she respects that, and that's attractive to her, and she wants to fuck that guy. Now, you don't have to be a jerk. A lot of guys have a lot of binary thinking, a lot of black and white thinking in this space, and they think, oh, well, if I can't be a nice guy, I have to be a fucking asshole. No, you don't have to be an asshole. You can be a kind man. You just can never be a nice guy. And why I'll do anything for her turns her into she lost respect for me. Have you ever seen, I talked about this the other day. God, I can't think of it. There's a cartoon out there about the emotions in a girl's mind and stuff like that. God, what is that? Nurse Chick, if you're watching right now, what movie is that? But they just came out with a sequel to it too. But in that movie, there's in this girl's head, she's imagining like her imaginary boyfriend's like, I would die for her. I would die for her. So women like think they want that, but a guy who's that selfless and gives everything of himself and sets no boundaries, he's not assertive and he's not setting the tone. He's trying to do everything to make you nice. Like women just, they don't know why, because they're told to want that. Women are blue pilled too. They're told that they should want this and they think that they should, but when a guy does that, they don't know why. And they're like, I don't know why, but he gives me the ick. Because there's no respect there. And a woman can't love a man she doesn't respect. Okay. She wasn't confused. She was just no longer attracted to the man who put her above himself. Let me tell you guys a quick story. There was once a man who lived in a quiet town, known by everyone as a really good guy. He always held the door, always gave more than he received, always said yes, even when it cost him something. He fell in love with a woman and gave her everything: his time, his energy, his focus, his identity. He thought that if he just loved her hard enough and proved how loyal he was, she'd see how good he was and never leave. He thought that, oh, yeah, I said that. But one day, she did. She told him, "You're a great guy, but I feel trapped. I need space. I need to find myself." And just like that, she was gone. At first, he blamed himself. Thought if he had just done more, been more patient, more helpful, more agreeable, it might have worked. But then something changed. He wandered into a circle of men, and they didn't mock him. They didn't pity him. They listened. Then they spoke. Each one had their own scars, their own stories of giving too much. And one by one, they helped him see the pattern. That it wasn't his kindness that failed, it was his inauthenticity. He had traded his masculinity for approval. He traded in his truth for peace. And peace bought that way, it doesn't last, man. Over time, that man changed. He didn't become bitter. He became honest. He became direct. He spoke his truth. He set boundaries. He stopped asking for permission to lead. And then something wild happened. He stopped obsessing over the woman who left. And he started becoming the man he never dared to be before. And this time, when he went out dating again, he didn't do that stuff anymore. He broke those patterns. He stopped being the seller and became the buyer. If you're in that space now, lost, heartbroken, trying to make sense of it all, you don't need another woman to heal you. You need clarity. You need truth, and you need men who've walked the fire and made it out stronger. And brother, look, if you don't fix this programming, you'll keep reliving this breakup in different bodies and faces, and it'll always end the same. She leaves, and you're left picking up the pieces. Drop a 1 in the chat. Drop a 1 in the chat if that hit. Guys, if this is you right now, if you're working on this, you're going through a breakup, it's hard, you're trying to deal with this stuff. That's why I wrote Forget That Bitch. Okay. It's not necessarily, it's a catchy title. It's edgy, grabs your attention. All right. But this book will walk you through this process of healing, coming out better on the other side so that this never fucking happens to you again. That's my goal. That was what my passion is. Okay. This is what drove me to do what I do. Because after I got red pilled with Red Pill Chick, I didn't hate all women and blame women for all my problems. I realized I was the common denominator and I was the one fucking up. And there was something that I was doing that wasn't working. I thought I was doing everything right, but it wasn't working. What the fuck was wrong with me? What am I doing wrong here? And that's why I started taking a deep dive into stuff and started studying this really fucking hard. And I started practicing and I started getting into groups with other men. This podcast came from a men's group, very much like Wolfpack. The group I came from is completely fucking dead now. I hate to say it. But Wolfpack is on fucking fire. The guys in Wolfpack are hungry. They are a hungry pack of wolves in there, and they are fucking working every fucking day, holding each other accountable, swapping notes, dropping success stories. Okay. That's why I do what I do. If you're going through that right now, grab my book. It comes out a week from Friday. Forget that bitch. You can pre-order the Kindle edition right now. Okay. Go to books.comeonmanpod.com to get that. And you can also get my other books there too. So how do we kill the nice guy once and for all and rebuild our self-respect? This might be a short episode. That's okay. Here's the thing. You've got to learn to be assertive. Okay. Now, assertiveness often is confused with aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive to be assertive. In fact, if you're being aggressive, you're not necessarily being assertive. You don't know how to do it right. You ain't doing it right, bro. Okay. You got to learn how to be assertive. Just like I said, when I told Nurse Chick when she asked me about her dog, I said, it's up to you, but he's going to be your responsibility. You're going to have to find accommodations for him. And she agreed to that. Okay. And then when she came back and asked me, do you think your parents will watch my dog? I had to hold that line. If I didn't hold that line, that would probably click in her head subconsciously. Like, wait a second. He told me when we got this dog that he wasn't going to allow that. But if he does that now I can walk all over him. And that's the beginning of the end. So you have to learn how to hold that line. And it's not hard. You don't have to be mean about it. Okay. But you also have to take emotion out of it and just hold that line. Be direct. Don't beat around the bush. Don't try to spare feelings. Okay. It's okay to say no. Hey, hon, no. I told you when you got that dog. He's your responsibility. You're gonna have to find someone to watch that dog for you. Right? It's okay to do that kind of stuff. It's honesty mixed with boundaries, and women respect that. Okay. Now they might keep testing you to see if you'll budge, but when you don't budge, the more respect they get for you and the more love they have. I'm just letting that sink in. Okay. You don't have to be mean. See, like I said, a lot of guys confuse, well, if I can't be a nice guy, you mean I gotta be a fucking asshole? I can't do that. You don't have to be a fucking asshole. Okay. You have to be mean, but you have to be authentic. You've got to have values that you stand for. That earns respect. Okay. And you got to learn how to say no without guilt. You've got to be able to say no and not feel bad about it. And that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard, especially if you've gotten 20, 30, 40 years of nice guy programming. We got a guy in Wolfpack, Shreddy Eddie. God, Shreddy Eddie is a fucking legend in Wolfpack. Hold on. If you guys just listen in the distance, you'll hear the clanging of fucking weights. That's Eddie. That's Eddie out there getting shredded, right? Shreddy Eddie is in his 60s. He's in Wolfpack. He's been in Wolfpack for a long time, and he's a phenomenal guy. He lost, like, working with us. He's lost tons of weight, and just really start working on those old negative paradigms. And he was very much a classical nice guy who, like, if he did say no, he would feel bad about it. He would feel bad about saying those boundaries, and he gets really lost in his head of overthinking and all that kind of stuff. And he's working on not doing that so much, being more decisive, being more assertive, and he's made tremendous progress. And if Shreddy Eddie could do it in the 60s, anybody could do it. Like, that's why he's a fucking legend in the group. You guys need to get in there and talk with guys like Shreddy Eddie, right? That have put in that kind of work. And if you reframe things, right? And I talk about reframing a lot. It's really, you're just looking at things from a different point of view. Okay. You want to reframe conflict as a form of clarity and embrace it. You want to almost look forward to opportunities where your girl's shit testing you. If you look forward to shit tests, that's where that amused mastery comes from. If you ever hear guys in the space talking about amused mastery, that comes naturally. You don't have to try to do amused mastery. It comes naturally once you've actually seen that kind of stuff enough and you recognize it, you know exactly what it is. Then it's funny, right? It's fun and amusing. Now you have amused mastery, right? And you get that naturally by working on other tools like Agree and Amplify and fogging and acting different. When you get to a place where that stuff is just muscle memory and you just do it without thinking about it. Now, when a girl comes and shit tests you, you think it's funny and you actually have fun with it. You look forward to that kind of stuff. But the funny thing is that the more they test you and the more you pass those tests, the less they end up testing you over time. If your girl is constantly fucking testing you, it's because you've been constantly failing. Okay. So some of those tools I just mentioned, we have fogging, negative assertion. So that's another one. So these all come from When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. They're very practical tools. Highly recommend that book. I talk about some of that stuff in Forget That Bitch. Okay. I also talk about When I Say No, I Feel Guilty tools in Get Her to Fuck You Again too, right? But let's talk about fogging. What is fogging? I like to look at fogging like Agree and Amplify without the amplify. Okay, so you're basically agreeing with any truth in her criticism without getting defensive. And it disarms that manipulation in its tracks. Okay, so example, she says, "You're so selfish now. You never used to act like this." So what you want to do is you want to find any kind of truth in that statement and just agree with her, right? So you go, "You're right. I've definitely started putting myself first more lately." Well, if you agree with what she says, she's got nothing to fight with you about. That's why it's called fogging. It's like throwing fists at fog. It never lands, right? She can't fight with you if you agree with her. Pretty cool tool. But she's wrong though, man. I gotta fight. One of the guys at Wolfpack last night, his girl was saying something about some kind of politic heated thing. I think it was about single moms, or I can't remember what it was. It's something how Trump is going to pass a bill that's going to impact single moms. And she was all upset about it. And he's like, should I jump in and talk about how I don't support single moms? And I'm like, will that get you laid, bro? Like, is it important to fucking argue with your girl about politics? If you're arguing with your girl about politics, you ain't getting laid. And there's no point in doing it. There's no point in if you are getting into an argument with your girl about literally anything, you're operating in her frame. It's not even worth it. It's not even like, it's pointless. It's fucking pointless. Just don't do it. But fogging, why it works, right? You don't resist. You're not trying to make her happy. You don't explain yourself. You're holding your frame. All right. Frame is everything. We have negative assertion. This is another tool. And what that is you're calmly accepting your flaws or mistakes without self-attack, right? You sort of own that reality. So she says, you always shut down during arguments. And you go, yeah, I can see that. I've got work to do when it comes to staying present in conflict. Right? So it's kind of like you add fog. That's fogging with negative assertion. Okay, that example. Right? So you say, yeah, I can see that. That's the fogging aspect. And then when you negative assertion, you're saying, I've got work to do when it comes to this, right? You're sort of agreeing with her, and then you're also sort of adding on to that, right? And it kills her ability to shame you. You're not pretending to be perfect. You're grounded. You're recognized. Yeah, I got work to do. This kind of stuff will stop fights instantly. I want my peace, bro. I want my peace. This is how you get there. This is how you get there, through tools that help you maintain frame while she's testing you. That gives you peace. Peace starts up here, in here. Doesn't start out here with her. She will never give you peace. She will only bring you drama. Peace has to come from up here, okay? These are the tools. Then you have negative inquiry. This is very similar, right? But this is where you're asking for clarification when she's criticizing you, which forces her to be more specific. Now, this is a cool tool because a lot of times when women are arguing with you, what she's arguing with you about is not really why she's upset, you know? And so she'll just sort of blurt out whatever she can at the time that, you know, is also upsetting to her, but it's mild. It's usually never about what she's arguing about, okay? But she says, "You're such a jerk," okay? And so a negative inquiry would be like, well, what exactly did I say or do that came off that way to you? Why do you think I'm a jerk? What makes you think I'm a jerk? But it works because it shifts the frame from emotional attack to objective analysis. You stay calm, and now she has to explain herself to you. Now, we often talk about in the space, don't dear, right? Defend, explain, excuse, rationalize. You, if you are the boss, if you're the king, you don't have to explain yourself to the subjects. And if you're defending yourself, explaining yourself, all that kind of stuff, you're justifying why you do what you do, that puts you at a position below her where she now is the judge of your behavior. And now she loses respect for you, okay? You don't have to explain yourself. But this negative inquiry forces her to explain herself to you. Now you're at a higher position than her. You're maintaining frame. You see how these tools work? But you shift the frame from emotional attack to objective analysis, okay? We want to develop emotional independence. I like to say being lovingly detached in a relationship. You want to get to a place where you're lovingly detached. What do I mean by that? It means that you keep yourself, you allow yourself to be so Twitter-pated by her and so in love, and we put the wife goggles on that you stop seeing things objectively, right? You've got to be able to sort of step back and see the relationship from a third-party perspective so you can make strategic decisions. And the funny thing is, when you do that, you're actually setting the tone and leading the relationship from your vision, not hers. And she'll actually follow your lead and respect you more and be more in love with you. It's fascinating how that works, okay? But you can't be looking at women for your self-worth. You can't be looking at her for validation and her approval and all that kind of stuff, because that's a lot of the reasons why we fall into these nice guy traps is that we don't want to upset her. We want her approval. We want her to like us. We don't want her to be mad at us. We don't want her to be upset, okay? And so we do all this nice stuff to try to get that validation and approval from her because we make her the arbiter of our worth. Well, that's got to be, you got to let that go. You've got to have your own set of value and self-worth internally, right? You don't need to look externally for that validation. So that internal validation is the only way to stop getting destroyed in breakups too. Because a lot of guys put a lot of identity into those relationships. And when those relationships end, they beat themselves up over it. They go into depression. They start drinking. Some guys unalive themselves because they were looking for her for that validation and approval, and they didn't have any in here. It's got to come from within. Self-respect, it's the difference between setting a boundary and begging to be loved, okay? If you have self-respect and you won't let yourself be walked over, and you won't be letting yourself be taken for granted anymore, and you won't let yourself be taken advantage of, and you use these tools that we're giving you in the space to be more assertive and decisive and all that kind of stuff, you don't have to beg to be loved anymore. You're going to naturally attract that. You're going to be more of an attractive man. And when I say attractive, I'm not talking about physical features. I'm talking about your demeanor and your behavior. It's going to be attractive, okay? I teach this stuff in Forget That Bitch, okay? It's not just a breakup guide. It's a reprogramming manual for men stuck in old patterns. And then inside the wolf pack, right? Inside the wolf pack, we don't just talk about it. We are about it. We live it. We have daily accountability in the Telegram chat, daily practice, daily swapping notes. If you get in there, you don't have to suffer alone, okay? Suffering ends today when you join the wolf pack. This podcast, a lot of you guys tune into the podcast, and I appreciate that. This podcast helps wake you up, okay? The book, the coaching, the group, that kind of stuff is what's really going to help you rebuild, though. All right? You weren't dumped for being nice. You were dumped because you weren't being real. You made her your mission. But the mission is you, brother. So here's what I want you to do next, okay? I want you to pre-order. Forget That Bitch on Kindle. If you don't have Kindle, I guess you'll just have to wait for the paperback, the hardcover, or the Audible edition. That's fine. It's all coming. I got the Audible edition submitted. It should drop same day. I'll put that announcement out on social media. So if you're not following me on social media, what are you doing with your life? All right. Join the wolf pack and stop giving away your power to women who don't respect you. Can you guys drop a 1 in the chat? If you're done letting women walk all over you, drop a 1 in the chat if you're fucking done with that shit. All right. For the love of God. For the love of God. Can my Wolfpack brothers drop a 2 sweet in the chat? Drop that 2 sweet in the chat, baby. Guys, tune into the podcast Friday. We're going to have some fun for Frame Friday this Friday, okay? I got the idea while watching Monday Night Raw the other night, because if you didn't know, I'm a pro wrestling fan. And I was thinking about something that Gia McCool said. I don't know if you guys know who Gia is. She's got a pretty big following on X and Instagram. And she's a cool chick, right? But Gia said on Thor's memorial stream that she was saying how hard it is for her to deal with the negative comments on social media since she does all this stuff in the men's space. There's a lot of negative comments, right? And I hear this a lot from other female content creators. It's really hard on the female content creators when they get negative comments. Okay. And I was thinking that, man, if she just had some of that pro wrestling heel mentality, she would not only, she wouldn't only not be bothered by it, but she would fucking love it. She would love it. Anyway, in honor of the Wolfpack, the Wolfpack's nod to pro wrestling, and we're promoting the group this week because, Brother Dan's going to spit fire on Saturday for the members of the podcast. I thought we could talk about heel frame. We talk about heel frame on Friday. Okay. You're not going to want to miss it. You're not going to want to miss it. If you guys don't know what a heel is, in pro wrestling, there's good guys and bad guys. The bad guys are called heels, and their job is to make you hate them. Their job is to get a negative reaction from the crowd. Their job is to get you so emotionally engaged in the show that you want to see him get his ass kicked. Okay. He's doing it on purpose and they love it. Okay. If you have that mentality, when people say shit to you, you're going to think it's fucking funny. Okay. You're going to love it. All right. Tune into that Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail. Thanks for all the comments today. I appreciate it. Remember, brothers, drop a 2 sweet in the chat there. And thanks to Brother Ray from Wolfpack for that super chat. I appreciate that. Guys, follow me on X. Try to build up X. I'm going to go hard on X this year. That is my goal this year, is to really build up my X account. Get the free ebook. Fine. Here's how to get her back. And then Forget That Bitch drops a week from Friday. Okay. Get in the pack and join the private exclusive pod class this Saturday. Brother Dan's going to be talking about using hostage negotiation tactics in your relationship. That should be a fun fucking pod class. And then, guys, if you want to work with me directly, book a call. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. That's all I got. We will see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.